Live from wherever you happen to be, it's the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. And now, here's your host, curator of the Hall, Jamie Dew.
Oh, it's so twinkly. It's just so twinkly. My name is Jamie Dew. I am the curator and host of the SNL Hall of Fame and the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. I want to welcome you into the hall, but before I do, please wipe your goddamn feet. It would be unkind of you to soil the sacred ground here at the SNL Hall of Fame with your filthy feet. So there's that. We are back again for another week of enjoyment and excitement here on the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. This week, I am joined by my friend Erin Rizok, and we get into a conversation about Melissa McCarthy joining the ballot of the Hall. So McCarthy has been on the show several times, and she is a wonderful host, throwing herself in. If you haven't watched her hosting episodes, and you are more aware of her through her more recent cameos during the Trump administration when she portrayed Sean Spicer, well, then you're missing out, because there is a tremendous catalog of great sketches with her in it, and Erin and I get into that in this episode. Does she belong in the Hall? I don't know. That will be for you to decide. And the way that's going to work is once we have filled the ballot at the end of the SNL season, we will open it up to you, the voters, to select 12 candidates, 12 nominees, 12 balloteers from the list. Then I will do some careful tabulation after removing my shoes, and we will determine whether or not these players achieve the requisite 51% of the votes. If they do, they will be enshrined forever into the SNL Hall of Fame. So that's pretty exciting. I've been thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I could get some sort of plaque or something like that I could send out to anybody who, makes it to the Hall of Fame? What do you think? Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? Is that a dumb idea? Send me an email, jamie@snlhof.com. I would love to hear from you. And of course, if I get an email and it's appropriate, I will read it on the air. I am also looking for your feedback in terms of Apple Podcasts rating and reviewing. Apparently, it's a thing still that we as podcast hosts ask whether or not, this is something that you can do for us, because it is helpful, and we need that kind of help to get the word of these podcasts out there. The show is doing really well. I was really surprised to see it charted in the Netherlands, so that's cool. If you are listening, from the Netherlands right now, hello and welcome, and I'm glad you're here. But that's really all I have for you in terms of preamble. We are well into the process of balloting. This is the 6th episode of the show, 7th episode of the show. So there are now, after this episode, there are 7 people on the ballot. And there will be probably about 30 when all is said and done. So it's going to be tough when it comes to voting. But at any rate, like I said a moment ago, let's go to the interview that I conducted with Ms. Rizok and talk a little bit more about Melissa McCarthy. So get ready for that, because that is coming right up after this little break. Erin Rizok, Jamie Dew, Melissa McCarthy, SNL Hall of Fame. Let's do it. methodology. Like, how are people being judged? So I think a good thing to maybe start on is methodology and, you know, how you approached this category of host for the SNL Hall of Fame, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah. Well, you presented us a list to choose from. And when I looked at the list, it was really who is funny, like who stuck out as me as funny, who was in sketches that I remember, that I quote from, that I occasionally will just rando watch on YouTube, right? Like, who do I think is funny? And and then I kind of worked backwards from there. Melissa McCarthy jumped out at me immediately in your host list because she has so many memorable sketches, and I just think she's fucking funny. And then I think I might have done it backwards, like in a reverse order than other people. Like, you know that I'm a lawyer. Other people don't know that I'm a lawyer. And sometimes I'm prosecuting a case and I think, you know, I know this guy is guilty. He knows he's guilty. The judge knows he's guilty, but I just can't say, Your Honor, he's guilty. I need some evidence of his guilt. So then I kind of work backwards for my evidence as to why Melissa McCarthy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, beyond me just saying she's fucking funny. So I kind of went back through the history, and I would say I'm a fan of SNL. I would not say I am a student of SNL. So I know what I like, but could I tell you the order of the episodes that she was on, or which sketches were on which episode, except for maybe Sean Spicer, because that's very topical. Other than that, I couldn't tell you what order. So I kind of went back and rewatched, you know, that's how I went about it.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. All right. I think it's important to note that Melissa McCarthy is a 5-timer, and she did it in relatively short order. She did it from October. Her first appearance was October 1st, 2011. And then she was invited back each of the next 3 seasons. So she was on 37, 38, 39, and then 41. And then she came back during the height of the Sean Spicer era for her 5th-timer performance in season 42. So in, 5 years, she managed to 6 years, she managed to show up 5 times. So clearly they like her.
Yeah.
You're not the only one. And this is an important distinction when we talk about Hall of Famers. You know, they are people that get their hands dirty and they do the work.
Well, that's what stands out for me about her amongst almost every other host.
Tell me more about that.
Like, well, it's apparent from the very first episode that she hosts, which I had to go back and check the order, as I said, but it's physical comedy right off the bat. Like in the very first episode, there's like that Lulu Diamond sketch where and I generally do not like the SNL sketches where they do like old-timey movies or reference back to old-timey movies.
Okay, yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah,
yes.
That's not usually I don't generally go for those, but she does one, and I think she falls down the stairs 4 times.
She falls up the stairs once.
Yeah, and she right, and you know that if she's going to be on that, she's going to wear crazy costumes. Like the wig department, I can't decide if they're excited or terrified because they're going to need like 8 totally different bananas wigs for every sketch that she's going to be in. And she does, there's a lot of hosts who just read the cue cards, right? And some of them are very successful. They're hilarious reading the cue cards.
Sure.
But she is a physical comedian, right? Yes. And she's doing characters. Like a lot of the hosts, they play the straight character in the sketch, right? And she fully formed characters. She's jumping through windows. She's falling downstairs. She's dumping gum or
ripping apart a pumpkin. Like her very first appearance, she's one of the Maharal, I can never say the name right, but the Maharal sisters.
I can't say it either. Yes.
She's like the 5th Maharal sister.
Yeah.
And she's got the bulked up, the crazy arms, and she just walks onto the stage and rips apart a pumpkin and eats it.
Yeah. She also drinks the salad dressing. That is all from one episode.
Oh,
The falling down the
Hidden Valley
stairs.
Ranch?
Yeah. So that's all one episode. And
yeah, the Hidden Valley Ranch is very, very nuanced character work that pays off with the physicality and the wackiness. Just, it's bananas.
well, that's the first example, I think, of her playing the lovable weirdo against a bunch of normies. Like, she does that a lot on Saturday Night Live.
That's a really great way of putting it.
Yeah, right. She does it on a game show. She does it in one of my favorite runs of sketches where they have like the moms who are kind of a part of a cult. They're very funny. I think it's on the Mother's Day episode, which she hosted. She hosted the Mother's Day episode one time, I think, and I think that's the one. But my absolute fave, like I could go on and on. My absolute fave of her as the lovable weirdo against the normies is PJ. Do you know the sketch PJ?
No, I don't.
This is like welcome to the first ever meeting of women's group. I know we're all very busy with carpools and birthday parties, but I think it's great that we're taking time to focus on ourselves and our goals.
Oh, I thought this was just an excuse to drink white wine in the afternoon. Carol, you're bad.
Okay, I'll go first. My goal is to fall back in love with my husband. I want us to play, and I want to be wooed. Carol?
Okay, I guess, I just want to, like, slow down, you know? I want to cook more, and I want to worry less.
Yeah.
I'll go. I want to start really considering the things I put in my body, and I want to take more photographs.
I'll go. This year, I would like to avenge the death of my father. He was taken from me 10 years ago, and now I plan to exact my revenge on the individuals who caused me this pain.
I want to learn how to set up my Kindle. Okay, that's great, everybody. Now let's pull out those vision boards that we all made. All right, now, Denise, would you like to go first?
Okay. These are some images that I find inspirational. These are fresh cut peonies. This is Jennifer Hudson. This is yogurt. And this is an angel.
Oh. Okay, on mine. This is my dad, and this is me over his dead body screaming, "No!" This is really kind of before. This is the before image, and then this is the after.
Are you holding a human head?
Yeah, I am. This is the head of Raul El Scorpion Diamante. He is the man that killed my father. This is the only known photo of him, and I hope to place red X's in his own blood over his eyes when I find him, and coincidentally, I also have yogurt.
Very good job, PJ. I can tell you're very serious about your goals. So, who's next?
I wish I had gone before PJ, but this is mine. So this is my dream kitchen. It's a Hampton style with a lot of like copper details. I like the airiness of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Anyone else?
I got another one. I just kind of got into it. It made sense to me. This vision board is showing El Scorpion's inner circle.
I'm sorry, why are you on there?
Oh, very astute. It's nice. I've been able to infiltrate his organization by gaining their trust, mostly through sex. I consider my body a tool, not unlike a Swiss Army knife. And I love that sweater, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That's a very cute blazer.
Oh, yeah, I've had it for a while. I don't even know where I got it. Oh, yeah, and Taylor Loft.
Okay, now did anyone and everyone bring an object that inspires them? Is that...
Yes. Okay, this is my own personal copy of Under the Tuscan Sun with Diane Lane. And I don't know, she just reminds me that we as women are like fine wines.
Oh. I'd love to borrow that from you. I love the message. Okay, I brought a box. Each time I've erased an individual as part of my journey, I've taken a trophy and put it in here. But I will warn you that the contents once seen cannot be unseen. So, you guys ready?
I think we're fine. I think we're good.
Are you sure? Okay. It was mostly ears and one penis, so.
PJ, I know we all just met you, but it seems like a lot of your visioning is less about finding your best self and more about murder.
That's fair.
But, women's group is about letting go of the past. So what I want to know is not who was PJ, but who is PJ?
That's a great question. Who is PJ? PJ likes to laugh. PJ can be a bit of a diva. PJ should probably give herself a break because she's a good woman.
PJ, I'm sorry, what's that red dot on your chest?
Does it follow me when I move?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about gunfire in the home?
Well, I asked you to take off your shoes, so.
Okay. I'm gonna probably go. I want to thank you for lovely spread and having me in your home, and I'll see you at the next women's.
PJ. There's so many.
Yeah, she really does have like a list of people that she can. I mean, I'm guessing it's from the years of her performing on the main stage for the Groundlings and developing a lot of these characters. I was fortunate enough to be living in LA and going to the Groundlings school when her and Kristen Wiig were both on the main stage. And seeing the shows, they were incredible. And I had no idea who Melissa McCarthy was, but you saw this star power, you just saw something that was spectacular on the stage. And you really do see that in Studio 8H as well, when she appears as a host. You can imagine her being part of repertory players. She would fit in beautifully.
Oh yeah. She's so many characters. When you are a host and you bring back a character, that is a pretty, you do a character as a host, then you bring it back. Because I think I don't know the name of the character, but that abusive coach, I think she does that one a couple of times. It's a play on an American abusive coach, which my knowledge of American sports scandal is failing me right now. But Sheila Kelly, I think that's her character's name. And she's an abusive NCAA coach. And I think she does it twice.
Oh, and you can just visualize her doing that angry voice.
Yeah.
To me, a host is somebody who is in the thick of things during the writing process as well. And I just have a feeling that she'd be up for that, where they're up all night writing. I can see her being part of that and enjoying that process.
I think she's smart too. There's a sketch from one of the episodes where it's a play on Wheel of Fortune, and the Vanna White character is off sick. So she is the host's brother's girlfriend, and she just comes in to be the letter turner for an episode. And there's a long phrase is the answer, and Fred Armisen guesses D, and there's 8 D's in this long phrase on the board. And she sucks at this so bad, she'd never done it before, and she turns over a whole bunch of letters and never reveals a D. And as far as I can tell, there's nothing for her to signal that they aren't a D, that the audience can't see. So I'm has she memorized where everything is? And she is fully performing this character whilst also remembering where the D's are, so she doesn't reveal a D because the character is not supposed to reveal a D. And she's moving up and down the board, and she's interacting with the wheel while staying in character.
So great.
So great. So great.
If you had to sum it up in a short sentence, why she should be in the Hall of Fame?
Because she is a comedian who performs fully formed characters, will do whatever they ask of her, will wear a crazy costume, will remember her lines, will deliver it with physicality and commitment, and she'll do different, like totally different things. Every sketch in the episode is something entirely different that she is committing to 1000%, which is why they keep inviting her back, which is why when they honored the Matt Foley character on the 40th anniversary episode, she was the one that did it. Also super physical. I think she jumps on the desk. And I don't necessarily care about these things, but every single time she's hosted, she's been nominated for an Emmy, and she won for the last time. And I know you don't especially care for stunt casting, like someone coming on to play somebody in the news that's not a regular part of the cast. But I would say if there's an exception to that rule, it's her, Sean Spicer.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. The fact that she was a vetted host at the point they invited her to be Sean Spicer. She had hosted 4 times, and that character was so fully realized, the way she portrayed it, her anger, just this simmering under the crust anger. And, she leveraged that into getting into the 5-timer club. She's really overdue at this point now. We're season 46, and she hasn't been on since season 42. So we need to see her again real soon. On top of hosting 5 times, she's guested 4 times. So they love her. Talk to me a little bit more about Sean Spicer.
They really started to do that a lot with Trump, where they would bring people on to play people in the Trump universe. And I don't know, like
Trumpverse.
The Trumpverse, right? And I don't think you had to follow the news to think that that was funny, right?
Right.
Like, it is so funny. And it's relevant if you are following the news. Like the people in the press room or whatever, the briefing room, wherever she's supposed to be, like Bobby Moynihan is playing a New York Times reporter. So like there's like the sketch is so good. And she's playing just him angry, but also funny. And in the later ones, like self-aware of his anger, right? Like he's thinks he's going to tone it back. And then they take it to an absurdist level that they do sometimes on SNL with the puppets or not the puppets, like the bins, and she brings out the props to like explain to what she thinks are the idiot media about what she's talking about. And in the first one, she like chugs like gum, like these little pieces of gum. And they managed to one up that later where she has one humongous giant stick of gum and she like eats it and delivers the sketch. It's so good. And then they keep like, I don't love a repeat character just for the sake of it, but if they can develop it, right? And they develop the moving podium. And then like, I think at the very end, he like goes out into the streets of New York looking for Trump on the moving Segway podium. It was very timely.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, we weren't quite clobbered over the head with the Baldwin, Trump. It still seemed new and fresh. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she only did it 4 or 5 times, that kept it fresh as well.
Absolutely.
So that was my talk with Erin Rizok about Melissa McCarthy and why she belongs in the Hall of Fame. The argument has now been made. McCarthy has been added to the ballot. it is up to you now to take your pen in hand and prepare your reasons to vote or not vote for Melissa McCarthy in the SNL Hall of Fame. I want to say that next week we have a real special episode. It's episode 8, so of course it's got to be special because the 8th episode, just needs to be special, right? Am I right? We are joined next week by Ryan McNeil, and we are going to add Prince to the ballot in the musical guest category. So that should be a real great episode. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And Ryan and I get pretty deep into the career of Prince. I am admittedly not a giant Prince fan. I am aware of Prince. I know all the hits, but I'm not a deep catalog guy. But lucky for you, McNeil knows his stuff, and he brings a well-researched argument where Prince is concerned. We're going to play a Prince song for you as well, one of the ones that he played on SNL. So that should be a lot of fun. I look forward to it, you might say. Well, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate and review the show. And don't forget to turn out the lights, because the SNL Hall of Fame is now closed.
Thanks for listening to the SNL Hall of Fame podcast. You can find everything you need to know about the show at snlhof.com. Don't forget to subscribe, share, rate, and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. This is Doug Denant saying, this is Doug Denant saying, see you next month in the hall.
Podcasts and such.
Get even more savings this holiday season by becoming a Milo's Rewards member. Don't miss new member deals dropping every week, like $15 off a purchase of $50 or more on select Bounty, Charmin, and Puffs paper products. Plus, get free standard shipping with Silver Key status. Just one more way Lowe's is here to help you shop, save, and enjoy the holidays. Join for free today. Milo's Rewards program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change. Exclusions and more terms apply. Visit Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details.